The Champions League is about to go through some major changes in 2024. UEFA have just announced that starting next season, the old Champions League format that we've all come to know and love will be scrapped, ditching the classic 32-team group stages and reinventing them into a 36-team league format. It's not only going to apply for the Champions League though, this new league format is going to transition over to the Europa League and Conference League, meaning more teams, more games, and more football. If fixture congestion wasn't already an issue, UEFA aren't helping. The 24/25 campaign is going to take it to a whole new level. Yeah, UEFA, you're not helping, but that's got me thinking, how would this newly announced and proposed format perform and simulate in FC24? I want to get a taste of it and experiment with this new format before FC25 drops, because knowing EA, they're going to have to change a few things. It forces their hand to actually change the tournament mode, change how it works in career mode. They're going to actually have to do some work and get their hands dirty in the offline sector, so that's a W for us career mode enjoyers. There's like a 90% chance this new format doesn't even work properly in FC25, or the new game mode is just broken in entirety. But hey, what's the worst thing that could happen when we let EA cook? Now, whether these major changes to the competition are actually permanent or just an experiment for 24/25, no one's really quite sure. This might be the new way going forward, and we're just gonna have to accept this new era. But something about me is always gonna miss the classic 8 groups of 4. I don't know, I'm a traditionalist. I'm an old school kind of guy. Let me know what you guys think down below. I'm also open to them experimenting and seeing how this new format performs, but I can understand that there was going to be a lot of pushback and a lot of negativity towards it. Now, how it's going to work in FC24 though, that's a whole different ball game. So let me walk you through it, because I want to show you guys how you can pull this off at home. Thanks to tournament mode not changing and all of its limitations still from like FIFA 13, it's literally hasn't been touched. It's the same exact thing 10 years later. So we're going to have to set up a couple of multi-phases of the competition. So try and follow along here. We're going to set up a league format and set up the number of teams to 18, because we can't do more than like 24 for some reason. EA don't let you. Not even mods can save us here. This is all in the confines of the FC24 limitations. Autofill teams, we're going to say no. And realistically name the tournament whatever you want, but for the purposes of you guys following along, it's going to be called the Part 1. And of course, you want to turn the advanced settings on and the team type to menu. Advance forward. I'm going to set the subs on the bench to 7. Doesn't really matter what cup or silverware you choose. And then the fixtures versus each team is only going to be 1, because 8 games are being played throughout this entire league format between the teams, because each team is going to be playing 8 games and then we're going to stop it after that. So we're going to go ahead now and customize the first set of teams that are going to be in this first 18, and then part 2 will be the other 18. We kind of got to split them in 2 in order for this whole thing to work. I know there's a lot of steps, there's a lot of complications, there's a lot of setup to go into this, so just stay with me here. Now you can bet your bottom dollar we've got some 24/25 season mods applied, which includes some brand new players, some brand new kits, and of course, all the summer transfers that are already predicted to go down, like big boy Kylian Mbappe making his dream move to Real Madrid. So if you keep your eyes peeled throughout the video, you'll see some of that cool stuff pop up throughout. So here's the current slate of teams that are qualifying for the first 18. This batch will be applying the rules to both groups, and with these current standings, the top 8 will only qualify for the next round. The top 4 get automatic qualification to the round of 16, and then the teams that finish 5th to 8th go into the qualifying phase, where they face off and try and qualify to get into the round of 16. So it's like a round of 32 of sorts. But here we are, tried to mix it up as much as I possibly could. I tried to make it balanced, have some big teams in there, and this is all based off current results in real life at the time of recording. So don't shoot me if some of these teams don't even qualify in real life, like AEK Athens. I just wanted to throw in some more exotic choices that rarely show up in the Champions League. As we roll through this league format Champions League style, 8 games have been played and the first part of the group stages has now concluded, with the winner being Liverpool, tied up top with Inter, both with 24 points. Pretty much both a perfect record. 8 wins out of 8, so it's going to be both them, PSG and Real Madrid, who just sneak into the top 4 on goal difference or head-to-head. And for the 4 qualifying for the pre-round of 16 stage is Leverkusen, Benfica and Arsenal, who just slide in there. That's another tight one, as they were tied on 13 points with Girona, and that means everyone from Girona down is completely eliminated from the competition. A major shock comes through, with Monaco finished runners-up in Ligue 1, coming through with 4 4 points. Absolutely terrible continental campaign. Dinamo Zagreb didn't even win a game, didn't even stand a chance. And then Serie A hopefuls Bologna currently killing it with Motta. The surprise package of Europe this season. They're not going to get a shot at the classic Champions League group stages, falling into 12th right next to Celtic. And Stuttgart, another one of these miracle stories that have qualified for the Champions League. They were unfortunately only one win away from cracking the top 8. So the top goal scorers and the big bagsman for this part 1 of the groups, it's Tsigankov, the Ukrainian for Girona. His team's just been heartbroken, but he takes home 7 goals. 5 are shared between Shanalogu, Thuram, Salah at Liverpool, and Vinny Jr. Icardi also doing bits for Galatasaray with 4. Mbappe only scoring 4 in 8 matches so far, so a little bit of a slow start for the Ninja Turtle. But now let's get it cracking and move on to the group stage, or the second league phase, part 2. Now this second batch of 18 is ready, and this is supposed to represent the rest of the 32 teams qualifying. And of course, I'm recording this before the season's ended, so I've kind of got to guesstimate and kind of chop and change a few things around. Like Borussia Dortmund haven't qualified, like they're not in the top 4. However, they still do have a chance of winning the Champions League, depending on when you're watching this. And obviously, Italy have 5 Champions League slots and potentially 6 if either Roma or Atalanta win the Europa League. So there's just so many other possibilities. I've decided to go for the best teams. Obviously, this could have been seeded a little bit better, but I've tried to balance things out as much as possible, so don't come at me. However, let's jump into phase 2 and see how things play out. Now, here is how this extended part 2 of the 36 league group phase is looking. The second 18, and let me know who do you think's taken out, which league phase was stronger, because there are a lot more underdog / like sneaky teams that could potentially go on a little run, like an Atalanta or an Aston Villa. And there are some newcomers like Brest, who are just happy to be there. So I think we've tried to conjure up a good mixture here. We've wrapped up now, and we've finalized who's going to qualify for the knockout rounds, who are going to survive and make it past this new brutal league system. And here we've got finishing rock bottom, 0 points, 8 losses, Shakhtar Donetsk. That is humiliating. Atalanta disappoint down in 15th. Brest actually finished above them. Meanwhile, Borussia Dortmund failed to qualify for that top 8. Also, Roma eliminated. RB Leipzig and Portuguese champion Sporting are out. As we uncover the top 8 right here, we have got Barcelona, Lille, Juventus, and Aston Villa coming through and making it out of this brutal part of the competition. They qualify for the knockout campaign. And over here in the top 4, we have Bayern returning to their winning ways, Atletico, Man City, who didn't lose a game, and Milan finished on top. The Rossoneri making their return back to the UCL, a memorable one, but no one actually finished perfect. Everyone was beating everyone besides Man City being undefeated, but there was no 8 wins out of 8, no 24 points. So have your say. I think this one might have been a little bit tougher because everyone was beating everyone. And let's take a look at the top performers. The top goal scorer was actually Pedro Goncalves. Unfortunately, his 9 goals in 8 games didn't qualify his club out the group stage, as Olivier Giroud is aging like a fine wine, the Frenchman continuing to show his world-class abilities with 8 goals and 8. Griezmann then finishing with 6. Jonathan David still firing for Lille, and Harry Kane, he's still on the quest for his first trophy of his career, and his 5 goals helped Bayern gain access to the round of 16 straight away. And something I didn't check out in the first batch of games was the assist chart, as we have Jack Grealish and Pasalic both tallying up 4, and it's Jan Oblak and Mike Maignan leading the way for the Golden Glove race. Now we have all the information and teams we need to create the second phase of this competition, the knockout rounds. But up first, we got to see what top 8 teams are going to qualify for the round of 16. So once you get all the info and the clubs that have made it through, we're going to start up a brand new tournament, select knockout, 8 teams. We're not going to autofill. I'm just going to make things easy and call it the round of 32 qualifying stage. We're going to have advanced settings on, team type men, 7 substitutes. We're going to have no final, so that doesn't really matter, but fixtures versus each team is going to be 2. We need the home and away leg to come through and do its thing. That's like one of the only rules that have stayed strong in this new announcement. Now, I know there's a lot of steps to recreating and replicating this new format in-game, but just follow along. Trust the process, guys, as these were the teams that finished within the top 8 of both the respective leagues, as they'll be facing off against each other over 2 legs, however, without away goals. I don't know, guys, I know it's a popular opinion, but I kind of miss the away goals rule. It takes away the flavor and the character of the competition as we load up to see the ignore what it says. It says quarterfinals, but these clubs are going to be battling it out for a spot in the round of 16. We have Aston Villa versus Lille, which was actually a recent Europa Conference League game. That ended on pen, so we'll see if the French could get their revenge there. Barcelona have a favourable draw, but they face a tricky Galatasaray. The big headline blockbuster fixture is Juventus versus Arsenal, and then it's the German champions taking on Benfica, the runners-up of Portugal. So let's see what side's up for it. What teams are going to prevail? Who's going to sink or swim? Let's get simulating, guys. I am so ready. And for the purposes of this video / experiment, I'll be controlling every single team in this knockout phase because I want to make sure every single side and every single outfit are fielding their best players and that we have fair and competitive, realistic results. Alright, we have our results here and this is going to get spicy. Here are the clubs qualifying up for the new round of 16 in the Champions League. We have Lille, Barcelona, Juventus and Benfica all successful over 2 legs, and here is how it went down. Oh, the away goals rule rears its ugly head. I mean, not to call it out or anything, but this tournament mode has automatically used it in place for like extra time and penalties. So it looks like we can't get everything perfect, but it is what it is. Let's just pretend away goals still exist. As Lille went through against Villa 3-3 on away goals, we had Barcelona just scraped by Galatasaray, gave them a hard time, only 2-1. And then here's the shock I'm pretty sure you weren't expecting. Juventus beating down Arsenal 4-2, the classic bottle job specialists, letting North London down again as it was Benfica to finally end Xabi Alonso's winning streak and beat out the German champions 3-2. And here you have it, your round of 16 fixtures are set. Now here is where we have the last and final custom tournament you have to set up, and where we can just go through to a straight knockout phase and select 16 teams. It fits perfectly. And now this is where it's going to be different for everyone, because if you've actually gone ahead and followed step by step, tried this and simulated everything, you're going to have different teams and different clubs who have made it through. But right here, you get to select a Champions League final destination, and unfortunately in 2025, the final destination is in Munich at the Allianz Arena, which right now isn't in FC 24 and hasn't been since like FIFA 18. So I'm just going to select the final destination for this season, and that's Wembley. Now every knockout game is going to be a 2-legged affair like we're used to, and there is just going to be a 1-game final. 7 subs on the bench fighting it out for that beautiful looking Champions League trophy. Yeah, lads, I think I've made a little bit of an oopsie. Here's me realizing that I've done the math wrong. I've miscalculated, and now we only have 12 teams instead of 16. I feel like an idiot. Would it be a BCHD video without all these complications and without some technical difficulties? I don't think so. So I'm going to take the 4 highest ranked teams from each of the group stages, the teams that basically finished 9th and 10th. But realistically, if you guys do this at home in that group phase, it should be the top 12 teams qualify through for the knockout rounds. But I unfortunately, made a big mistake, and that's on me. You guys can flame me down in the comments below, but the 4 extra teams will be Stuttgart, who finished 10th, RB Leipzig finished 10th, and then both Girona and Sporting came through 9th and just missed out narrowly on goal difference. So I feel like it's only fair to include them in the final 16. And of course, we're going to be controlling everyone. Here we go, this slightly more complicated version of the new format, this round of 16. And we're going to find out who's facing off. Are there any big clashes? And already, I see Liverpool versus Inter. This has all been randomly drawn. They all got pulled out of the hat and drawn up against each other. Second game, Real Madrid taking on Leipzig, which was a group stage game from this season. Bayern Munich versus Lille, who are on a little bit of a miracle run. High-flying AC Milan are going to be taking on informed Girona. Barca will be handling another tricky opposition in Sporting, the champions of Portugal. Man City are taking on Stuttgart. Juventus will face Atletico Madrid in a bit of a 2019 CR7 derby rematch, and then Benfica, who are on a miracle run of their own, are going to be up against the oil money giants of PSG. So here goes nothing. We've had to fix a few things on the fly and bend a few rules, but the round of 16, bring it on. No scripted video stuff on this channel, baby. We do it live. And now we have reached the quarters, or the round of 16 games done. So let's see who's progressed. We've already seen Liverpool come through successful versus Inter. Inter. And now let's take a look at all the results. So the Reds take home a 2-1 aggregate win. Real Madrid in a high-scoring affair get the better of RB Leipzig 5-3. Lille were respectable versus Bayern, but the Bavarians come through 4-2 victors. AC Milan just scraped by Girona 2-1 on aggregate. And it looks like the away goals rule hasn't really come into play throughout this round of fixtures, as Barcelona destroyed Sporting in the second leg 6-1 on aggregate after it finished 0-0. Stuttgart at the end of the day didn't have enough to take down Man City, as they took care of the Germans and got the job done at 3-0. Juventus snuck an away day draw against Atletico to come through 3-2 up on aggregate. And Benfica, I think they're in the mood to end this 100-year European curse, as the Portuguese in extra time against PSG knocked them out 5-4 on aggregate in the game of the competition so far, and they could be dark horses headed into these quarterfinals, as we have Liverpool taking on Real Madrid, Bayern Munich head-to-head versus Milan, the Pep Guardiola derby with Barcelona versus Manchester City, and then Juventus are taking on Benfica, who are riding on a high right now, riding this momentum, and here are your final 8. Bam, just like that, here's the rundown and analysis of everything that took place in the quarterfinals. We've had some exhilarating scorelines, goals galore, and in the first game, it was an 11-goal thriller over 2 legs, where Liverpool got the better over an Mbappe-led Madrid, and Real go crashing out of this first edition of the new format. Florentino won't be too happy about that, as Milan had to hold on to a 4-goal lead in the second leg at home, where they nearly let it slip away 4-3 on aggregate. So Harry Kane is out, no trophy for him. Not even in this new 24-25 edition of the competition he has any luck. The Pep Guardiola derby went down to Manchester City, where they come through 4-3 victors in a high-scoring affair, and it's Benfica's fairy tale run ended, as Juventus, who were previously banned from entering any European competitions only a couple seasons back, they've now returned with a vengeance, taking down Benfica 3-0 away. And now here are your final 4, the semi-final matchups. We have the 2005 replay, Liverpool versus Milan in that famous Champions League final battle. The Istanbul memories, I'm sure, are still alive and well between these two. And then we have this unstoppable Manchester City versus Juventus. So we have the possibility of an all-Italian final, an all-English final, but right here are your final 4, the Elite 4. And I want to find out who makes the final alongside you guys. So both these games have been played, or at least the first legs, and now I want to find out who makes the big dance. Milan right now are currently ravaged with injuries and suspensions, so it's going to be a tough ask. But at home right now, it's 2-2 on aggregate. Liverpool have the leg up in terms of the away goals, and it's Milan who in the 30 to scrape by with a 1-0 lead, keep Liverpool scoreless, and Luka Jovic the man to send them to their first Champions League final since, I want to say, 2007? The Rossoneri have dominated from the get-go. Liverpool crash out, and now it's down to Juventus or Man City. It is currently 2-1 to the citizens. Man City don't have any injuries or suspensions to worry about. Bremer, one of their main centre-backs, Juve, they're going to have to do without him. We're going to throw Diallo straight into the deep end and see how he handles the pressure. They need a win tonight, and a win only if they want to see an all-Italian final. But Man City have the leg up on aggregate on away goals, and it actually came down pretty close. In the 6-goal thriller, it ended 3-3. But Man City, I mean, with Grealish, Foden on the score sheet, that was a hectic game. Haaland, Alexandro gave them hope, and then Vlahovic with an 87th minute goal. They couldn't find the 4th. And your new 36-team league phase format of the Champions League 24/25 edition is going to be between Milan and Man City in the big dance. Here are your current player stats of the final before we head into the big match, as it's Haaland currently leading the race for the European Golden Boot. 7 goals for the Norwegian. Salah was doing alright before Liverpool got sent packing, 6 goals. Mbappe only had 4 in the knockouts, but he also had 4 in the group stages, so 8 all up. Luka Jovic is having a career revival right now, showing signs of his Frankfurt days with 4 goals, and then his fellow countryman, another Serbian, Vlahovic, with 4 as well. And then leading the Golden Glove race, we've got Maignan, who must be the key to them reaching the final. The French shot stopper is on absolute fire right now, and Frenkie de Jong so far has been the best assist alongside Toni Kroos and Goretzka. However, I've decided to let this play out through the kickoff mode. We're going to go jump straight into a Champions League final and watch them do battle that way, because I don't want these injuries and suspensions having an impact on the teams whatsoever. Plus, I want the proper trophy, the proper branding, making it feel as authentic and realistic as possible. And here is how both outfits are lining up, both at full strength, playing their best players in the right positions. They're fighting for the new Holy Grail. Milan trying to prevent Man City from going back to back, as we've fielded all their strongest players in the right positions, trying to keep things as close to real life as possible. And I've only just realized that this is low-key mirroring the 2023 final with Man City versus Inter. Now they're facing the red half of Milan. So let's see if the outcome is any different tonight. Can the Rossoneri prevent the citizens from going back-to-back European champions? It's all going down at Wembley Stadium, so you'd think that your Man City have a little bit of a home ground advantage. But anything can happen on the day in a final. That's what they're fighting for. As the Italians get proceedings underway, Giroud will kick us off. Here goes nothing. Now, how realistic would this actually be to happen in real life? I don't think Milan have got it in them, unless they have like a brilliant summer transfer market. However, City, they're looking to assert their dominance from the jump, and already on the attack. This is going to be a very fast-paced, hectic, a little bit of motion in this Champions League final. Already Bernardo Silva nearly opened the scoring inside 5 minutes off the post, and the woodwork has already been struck. Oh, now Leao trying to reply with a counter-attack. This is just full pace action. He tried to run through the whole team and do it himself. And Julian Alvarez attacking on this right-hand flank. The Argentine cuts it back. De Bruyne tempted to pull the trigger, but this Milan wall of defense is holding out strong for the time being. 10 minutes in. Benacer driving, and the Algerian needs to give it off, but he holds off De Bruyne magically and finds Rafael Leao on the burst. The Portuguese now cuts it back to Loftus-Cheek. One more into the path of Giroud, and Milan have the first goal. It is classic trademark Giroud. He ain't finished yet. He's still got another year in him. I think he's leaving to LAFC in real life, but anyways, he stayed along. They've called him back, and for one last dance, Giroud fires against old Premier League opposition, just like he did back in the day, and snuck it in at the near post, this time off the woodwork and in. It's first blood to the Rossoneri. He's a big game player too. He just pops up when you need him. The French fox in the box, the sexiest man alive. And this would be an underdog story, a miracle for the ages if they were to hold on. It's Benacer off to Pulisic. They're looking lively, and that goal gave them confidence, and Giroud wants another. This time, Alisson denies him. I don't know why we're using the Serie A ball, but it should be the Champions League ball. What is going on? And now it's Fikio Tomori on the edge of the area. Finds his centre-back partner, who they've both pushed up. And now Loftus-Cheek inside again. Cuts it back to Giroud, and it was nearly a carbon copy of the first goal. Pep won't be too happy with this performance so far, as Foden trying to get involved in the game. De Bruyne finds Bernardo Silva, and they're starting to click. And Foden back inside. KDB, they can't break down this Milan defense yet. Tomori holding out strong. Now Pulisic with a lovely ball inside to Giroud. The hold-up play from the Frenchman. Back inside to Loftus-Cheek. Pulisic in the clear, and what are we witnessing? Christian Pulisic. He's got all of America on his back, and he wants to win his second Holy Grail. The Milan players jumping into the crowd, celebrating with the fans. And the City crowd are silent. The City fans, I'm surprised they even showed up and filled out their allocation. But it was just comical defending from City. No one was marking him. And Christian Pulisic deadly with the finish. And Pep Guardiola is about to have an absolute meltdown on the touchline. I don't want to be a City player right now going into the halftime sheds. They find themselves 2-0 down. I don't think they've ever been in a position like this where they're just getting bossed. Are they going to have the character to come back? Let's see if they can halve the deficit before half-time, as KDB with a defense-splitting pass. Julian Alvarez finds Bernardo Silva, but that's why he's leading the Golden Glove race. Mike Maignan. We're approaching half-time, and City desperate to get a lifeline back in this game. But that's just summarised their night. Rodri just passed the ball straight out, so unlike him. With 1 minute of added time. Here we go. Do they have another chance left in the Milan? Roaming forward. And no, that'll be the halftime whistle. But boy, oh boy, it is do or die for Man City in the next 45. How is City going to recover from this and respond? Because Milan are putting on a marvellous display. Ooh, Loftus-Cheek was in a dangerous area, and it's a red card for John Stones. He was denying a goal-scoring opportunity. VAR couldn't come to save him, and it's down to the referee's discretion as he took out Loftus-Cheek, fellow countryman, without the ball. And now Pep is forced into a tactical change. He's taken off Julian Alvarez for Ake, an attacker for a defender. What is he thinking? Walker's picked up an injury too. It's just raining and pouring for Milan right now. And Pulisic tried to set piece off the training ground, but Ederson came to the rescue. That is a clutch save from the Brazilian. They're in panic stations right now. Leao's picked up a yellow card, but Milan don't care. The Italians are putting on a show. And on the big stage, Calabria, then they're hungry for more as Leao finds Loftus-Cheek, forces it out for a corner, and they're just all over him right now. And they're going to dominate now. It's City down to 10 men. They're going to have to take a few risks. As Loftus-Cheek, ball back inside to Reindeers, cuts it back. Rafael Leao nearly had the chance. Another substitution here. This time an attacking one. Walker off for Grealish. City are desperate. Bernardo Silva can't find. They're just so dysfunctional right now. They can't string 3 passes together. And it is the rarity from Man City. And Milan on the attack, keen to make it 3. Pulisic powers forward and just runs at this defense. Giroud wants a double and he just stands still. Why didn't he pull the trigger? A brain fart moment there from Giroud. And now Man City try their counter-attack of their own, but it's just not going for them tonight. Leao now, he's got so much space to work with. And the Portuguese running onto fresh green grass. It was the deflected shot, but Loftus-Cheek, who was snuck in at the back post, he's called for offside. But how close was it? I thought that the shot took a deflection off Ake. Oh, Loftus-Cheek, he's in an offside position, but right place at the right time. Change from Milan. They're taking off one of their best on ground. I think he's an MVP for sure tonight. Loftus-Cheek, he's just been orchestrating everything. Haaland, oh mate, Tomori has just pocketed Haaland tonight. He's done an absolute job on him. And now the space is opening up. Chukwueze super sub fresh. But it's come out to De Bruyne and he's just bursted forward. He said, fine, I'll do it myself. The Belgian on a miracle run and KDB shut down. Just like the majority of Man City's attacks, I can't remember them having a shot on target. As Giroud, nice hold-up play, involves Calabria. And there are so many red shirts in the middle. Reinders now fine to Giroud. And Chukwueze in all the open space in the world needs to pull the trigger. And it was Leao to finish the job. Tucks it into the bottom left-hand corner. And the Portuguese all but confirms the Rossoneri's 8th European title. They're going to be crowned the winners. And it wasn't really much of a contest. As soon as John Stones got sent for an early ice bath, they were struggling ever since. And Rafa Leao, he's been teasing all night. And the number 10 finally puts the last nail in the coffin. The citizens absolutely humiliated on Wembley turf. Grealish having his first few touches of the game. And the super sub, he's fresh. He wants to make an impact. Ball inside to Haaland, who went for the bicycle kick. And that might be the goal of the competition. He celebrates like he scored the winner. But it's probably just going to be a consolation unless they can conjure up a miracle. The City fans are absolutely ecstatic, but where's that been the entire game? Grealish out of nothing, out of nowhere, and then a bit of individual brilliance from the Norwegian giant. That is absolutely sensational. Mike Maignan caught flat-footed, and City might have a lifeline here. 5 minutes left on the clock. This would be a generational choke if Milan somehow stuffed this up. And Rodri wants to turn the screw. He can't find the killer ball. And how much at a time are we getting? How much time does City have? 3 minutes? Nah, no way. Are we going to have more blue bottle jobs? And yeah, Theo just wants to rub salt in the wounds. It could be 4 here if he finds the right cross. And it's not going to matter. A bit of itchy feet from Ederson there. And Leao wants to pull the trigger. It's still just absolute carnage. Milan aren't holding back from the set piece. City will clear away, and that all but confirms it. AC Milan. Damn, I wasn't expecting that. The Italians reign supreme in Europe, and their coefficient points are going through the roof. In a 3-1 absolute domination, City didn't have a sniff the entire game. The Italians pull through and win the first ever edition of this new Champions League format. Will this be the way going forward? Let me know all your thoughts on all the new changes and all the format rules. Do you want the away goals back? Should there be less games? Should UEFA have never just changed what they had and just kept things the way that they were. But I don't know, this one might be fun for a little bit of a one-off season experiment. I'm keen to see how it plays out in real life and in FC 25. Hopefully, if EA get their shit together and sort everything out, but the ribbons on the Holy Grail are red and black, and Man City humiliated here at Wembley, got their pants pulled down by Stefano Pioli's men. And there you guys have it. Feel free to use this format and, you know, those multiple tournament modes to see how it plays out for you at home. And if you made it this far, make sure to drop the video a like down below, hit subscribe, and turn on the notifications for all the content we have coming out on the channel this year. Follow me on all my socials. Links will be down in the description below. Bro, that new Milan kit is giving me like 2012 vibes. Thiago Silva, Ibra, back when they had an absolute super team. It's perfect. Chef kiss. It might be my favorite kit of the new season so far. And as always, I've been your boy, Sir BCHD. Have a great day, and I'll catch you all in the very next video. Bye bye.